When I was younger, I had a lot of rage, and I would explode with anger. And for a lot of men, anger is really depression in disguise. And I get angry every day at lots of things. And I think the weights help me have a place to let out that anger in a healthy way. It doesn't eliminate the depression, but it makes it better, you know? My mental health issues started when I was younger, and they manifested, I guess, as behavior problems. Basically, I was expelled from 3 schools because of my angry, raging outbursts. And for me, it was about power. When I felt threatened, I would feel the need to throw a desk at a teacher and try to kill her because that made me feel powerful. I really still struggle with that to this day. I don't throw desks or try to hit people anymore, but I struggle with a lot of power issues. In 2011, I had a breakdown and I was in New York City. I was becoming suicidal. I was angry. I was having relationship problems. It was bad. And I remember saying to myself that I don't want to die. You know, I don't want to die. And I knew that if I didn't address this stuff for the rest of my life in a proactive way, I was going to die. Or I was going to get locked up in jail for doing something because I didn't care when I was angry. And so I made it a point to make a commitment, a promise to myself that I'm going to go to therapy the rest of my life. And I'm not going to stop. Even if I appear fine and everything's cool, I'm not going to stop. And the other commitment I made was that I'm going to open my mouth and talk about it and not shut up about it. Well, my name is Mike Veny, and I've got mental health issues. I don't usually use the term mental illness. That's my own choice. I just say mental health challenges. That's the word I feel comfortable with. As a child, I was hospitalized 3 times in a psychiatric hospital. I was expelled from 3 schools for behavior problems. I harmed myself, and I tried to attempt suicide at age 10. When you have an issue and you don't talk about it, you give the issue power. And I wanted to take the power back. According to the National Alliance on Mental Illness, 1 in 5 people admit to having a mental illness. That only takes into account those people that admitted it. Mental illness is an asset because it taught me how to connect with people. Mental illness is an asset because it gave me my musical talent. And I'm not alone. There's other people who have experienced the same thing I have. I don't actually want to be a speaker. I just care about people not dying because so many people are dying because they're not addressing these issues. So I'm there to be disruptive until we see no more suicides. I think men in general are struggling to find what healthy masculinity is. I mean, what is it? For me, I also grew up in an environment where a tough guy was like a thug or someone that was always in a fight or causing trouble. So I think men in general are struggling to find what healthy masculinity is. I mean, what is it? Gonna lighten up that weight a little. I just had to lower the weight right there. And for a moment I felt like less of a man because I had to lower that weight. And I just realized that something felt disappointed within me. And I think that's a lot of my thing. I want to feel like a real man, and I struggle with that. I really do. Music is about the internal conversation you have with yourself musically. And simply, when I play the drums, I'm just having this conversation with myself and responding to it. And it takes me outside of myself for a moment and allows me to zone out. It's powerful. It just takes me to such a good place and puts me in a better space. I've come to terms with the fact that I think that depression's here to stay, and that's okay. And my anxiety is here to stay. I just want it to a point where I can not let it rule my life. The 8-year-old Mike was angry and upset and anxious and scared. And the 37-year-old Mike is angry, anxious, scared too. But the difference is the 37-year-old Mike is able to take a moment and step outside of himself and see what's going on and make some sense of it. Whereas the 8-year-old Mike didn't know what was going on. It's a process, not a destination. It's not about getting better overnight. It's about just learning about yourself in small steps and being okay with that.